Single leaked side-by-side image can tell you more about the iPhone 18 Pro Max camera upgrade than a whole hour of keynote buzzwords, because the newest dummy versus 17 Pro Max mockup shot is screaming one thing. Apple may be building its biggest optics jump in years, and it's doing it the old-school way, with more glass, more depth, and more hardware. Today we're talking about the leaked iPhone 18 Pro Max versus iPhone 17 Pro Max image, why that thicker camera plateau matters, and what it hints at. Variable aperture, a new stack sensor, a brighter telephoto, and even a rumored teleconverter. And we'll also talk about the trade-off nobody can ignore: extra thickness, extra weight, and whether that's a price worth paying in 2026. Let's start with what kicked this off. YouTuber Vadim Yuriyev shared an image showing an iPhone 18 Pro Max dummy unit next to an iPhone 17 Pro Max mockup. And at first glance, it looks familiar. Same general silhouette. Same "this is obviously a Pro Max" vibe. But then your eyes lock onto the camera area. The 18 Pro Max has a thicker camera plateau and visibly larger camera modules. That matters because camera bumps don't grow for fun. Apple's not going to risk wobble on the table memes and thicker cases unless there's a real payoff. And the leaked measurements make the point even clearer. According to Yuriyev, the iPhone 18 Pro Max thickness, it's about 13.77 millimeters, up from roughly 12.92 millimeters on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. That's not a tiny rounding error, that's a noticeable physical change. And if you exclude the camera bump, the 18 Pro Max is still thicker, around 11.54 millimeters compared to about 11.23 millimeters. So yes, the whole phone is getting chunkier, but the camera area is where the biggest change is concentrated. That suggests the added depth is mostly optics, lens stack, sensor stack, stabilization, maybe even extra elements for a new zoom system. Now here's the key point. Bigger camera modules don't automatically guarantee bigger sensors. Companies can waste space with packaging, shielding, or just different internal layouts. But when you see multiple modules grow, and the plateau itself gets thicker, it usually points to something more ambitious than a minor revision. And that lines up with the rumor package for the iPhone 18 Pro Max camera system. First rumor: variable aperture on the main camera. If Apple actually ships variable aperture, that's a meaningful photography feature, not a spec sheet flex. Aperture is basically the physical opening that lets light hit the sensor. A wider opening lets in more light and gives you a shallower depth of field. A narrower opening lets in less light, but can improve sharpness across the frame and help control highlights. Right now, iPhones rely heavily on computational photography to simulate that real camera look. Portrait mode, synthetic bokeh, edge detection, depth maps. It's impressive, but it's also not the same as manipulating optics in the real world. With variable aperture, you get another lever. You can potentially control exposure without leaning as hard on ISO and shutter speed. You can alter the look of highlights. You can keep more of a subject in focus in bright conditions, then open up to gather more light at night. It's the kind of change that can make photos look less processed and more intentional. Second rumor: a Samsung-made 3-layer stacked image sensor. This is the part a lot of people will skip, but it may be the real upgrade. The stacked sensor design can improve readout speed and reduce rolling shutter. It can also help with noise handling and overall responsiveness. A faster readout means fewer weird artifacts when you pan, fewer warpy lines in motion, and more reliable capture when your subject isn't standing still. It also means the phone can potentially do more HDR frames or more complex processing with less lag because the sensor is feeding data quicker and cleaner. And noise reduction isn't just about making dark photos brighter. It's about preserving detail while keeping shadows smooth. It's about not turning low-light images into watercolor. It's about keeping skin texture real instead of plastic. Third rumor: a wider aperture on the telephoto lens. This would be huge because telephoto cameras on phones are usually the low-light weak point. You zoom in at night, and suddenly everything gets soft, shutter speeds drop, and the phone starts begging the main camera to crop in. A wider telephoto aperture means more light, which means faster shutter speeds, which means less blur, which means more real telephoto shots you can actually trust. And it also means better natural background separation, because longer focal lengths plus wider apertures give you that depth without needing as much computational cutout. Fourth rumor: a teleconverter. This one is spicy because teleconverter is a real camera term. It's basically a magnifier that increases effective focal length. The catch is that teleconverters traditionally reduce light and can soften images if the optics aren't excellent. So if Apple is seriously considering a teleconverter-like component inside a phone, it suggests they're trying to push optical zoom further without relying purely on digital crops. But the real question is how Apple would implement it. Is it a physical element that shifts? Is it a hybrid system combined with periscope optics? Is it more like an internal magnification stage? We don't know yet. But if the camera island is growing and the modules are bigger, Apple has more room to play with complex lens paths. Now let's compare that to where the iPhone 17 Pro Max left off. The 17 Pro Max reportedly unified the triple rear array at 48 megapixels, including a higher resolution 48 megapixels telephoto. That's a big deal for consistency. When all cameras are high-res, switching lenses doesn't feel like stepping down in quality. But megapixels aren't everything. And the rumors are basically saying, don't expect the 18 Pro Max to win by cranking megapixels again. Expect it to win by upgrading the physical system that determines how much useful light and detail you can capture in the first place. This is also why that leaked thickness matters, because computational photography has been carrying smartphones for years, and it's getting harder to make last year's sensor look dramatically better with only software tricks. When you hit that ceiling, you have two choices: accept small improvements or invest in hardware. Apple looks like it's choosing hardware. Now there's a flip side. Actually, two flip sides: thickness and weight. The rumors say the iPhone 18 Pro Max could weigh around 240 grams, roughly 7 grams more than the 17 Pro Max in that report. Other estimates float a 230 to 240 gram range, depending on final materials and internal layout. Either way, the direction is clear: heavier. And weight is personal. Some people don't care. Some people feel it instantly. If you're one-handing a Max phone on the couch, 7 to 15 grams isn't nothing. If you throw it in a pocket all day, you'll notice. But here's the bigger debate: do buyers actually prioritize thinness anymore? Look at the market. Ultra-thin concepts get attention, but the models that sell are the ones that feel premium and deliver. And the popularity of the Pro Max class basically proves the point. People will carry a bigger slab if it gives them the best camera and best battery. Which leads into the next rumor cluster: performance and efficiency. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected to get Apple's next A-series chip, often referred to as the A20 Pro in reports. And the interesting thing is the focus may be less crazy peak performance and more efficiency and sustained performance. That's the kind of improvement you feel over time, not in a 10-second benchmark run. It's gaming without thermal throttling. It's longer video exports without the phone turning into a hand warmer. It's on-device AI tasks that don't drain the battery like crazy. Some reports mention advanced 3nm refinement, and there's even talk of early 2nm class moves down the line. Regardless of the node, Apple's goal is usually the same: more performance per watt. And performance per watt is battery life, heat, and long-term consistency. Speaking of battery, analysts like Ming-Chi Kuo and Mark Gurman have hinted Apple may adjust internals to support battery improvements. A slightly thicker body can mean more battery volume. That aligns with early projections that the 18 Pro Max could move from around the 4,800 mAh class to something closer to 5,000 to 5,200 mAh. That doesn't automatically mean you get 2 extra hours of screen time every day. The 5 to 10% increase is more like stability: less anxiety on heavy days, fewer sudden drops under load, and better endurance when you're doing navigation, recording video, or using the camera a lot. And there's a hidden benefit: better thermal headroom can improve charging behavior too. Heat is the enemy of fast charging. It slows things down and can wear the battery faster. So if Apple is improving efficiency and giving the internals a bit more space, it could help the whole system stay cooler, which means more consistent performance and more consistent charging. Apple wants to win the camera conversation again with real optical upgrades, not just new filters and new marketing words. Now, where does that leave you if you're deciding between buying now and waiting? If you need a phone today, the iPhone 17 lineup is already strong. The base iPhone 17 is a legit upgrade for non-pro buyers: a slightly larger 6.3-inch display and a variable refresh rate from 1 to 120 Hz, and that opens the door to an always-on display and smoother scrolling across the board. The cameras on the 17 are also solid, with dual 48-megapixel sensors on the back and a stronger ultra-wide than prior generations. The selfie camera upgrade and center stage style behavior are also real quality-of-life features. But if you're buying specifically for the absolute best camera system Apple can build, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is shaping up to be the one to watch. Variable aperture alone could change the look of iPhone photography. Add a stacked sensor, a brighter telephoto, and a possible teleconverter, and you're looking at the first time in a while where the hardware might genuinely leap, not step. And yes, it might be thicker. Yes, it might be heavier. But for a camera-first Pro Max buyer, the real question isn't, is it thin? It's, is it worth carrying because the shots are that much better? If you want me to cover every new iPhone 18 Pro Max leak the moment it drops, subscribe and turn on notifications. And comment on one thing. Would you trade a heavier phone for a noticeably better telephoto and low-light camera, or is weight the deal breaker for you? Finally, here's the challenge. Tonight, take 3 photos on your current phone in the hardest lighting you can find, bright highlights, deep shadows, and a zoom shot in low light. Then ask yourself one question. Do you want software to keep guessing, or do you want better optics to make the shot real? That's the bet Apple looks ready to make with the iPhone 18 Pro Max. So, that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more tech news and updates. Thanks for watching.